Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today I want to show you guys a super interesting EX4 Jijimon deck profile I've been working on. Traditionally, my playgroup has had a lot of trouble getting a good Jijimon deck to work, mostly because when Jijimon dies, the deck tends to take too long to catch back up. This version of the deck will be 4 colors, but mostly black-based, and it's going to take advantage of the new yellow-green Henry Tamer that comes out in EX4 to bolster our options pool and give Jijimon a little more skill expression. Now let's get right into the deck profile. So first we're going to take a look at the eggs, and we're just running 4 copies of our generic Pagumon egg. On deletion, you flip top card. If it's a black Digimon, you get to keep it. This is our substitute for draw power in black, so naturally it's what we're going to go with. Next, I like 4 copies of our BT6 Chikurimon. This card has a security effect where if the opponent hits it, you're going to get to trigger D-Digivolve 1 on one of their Digimon. So it's not quite removal, but it does set back our opponent if they hit it. Next, we're going to go with the promo box topper Dorumon. Security effect is that you reveal top card of your deck. If it's a black 4-cost Digimon, you get to play it. Otherwise, you add it to your hand. That's important because it does not matter what color the card is. No matter what you flip, if it is not a black 4-cost Digimon, you're going to get to add it to hand. So this is more draw power, potentially a body on board, and we have lots of targets for this to flip and play. So it's just fantastic. And then lastly, we like 2 copies of our blocker Agumon. This is kind of a filler slot. We're playing Jijimon, so I like the idea of having a rookie with blocker that gets played out by Jijimon. I think it helps against faster decks where you just kind of need bodies to stop your opponent from getting in on you before you're ready for them. So that is it for our rookies and our in training. So let's take a look at our champion level Digimon. So for champions in this deck, we're moving a little bit away from the traditional green style of cards that play tamers for you, and we're substituting it with Digimon that play themselves from security. So we're starting with 4 copies of the security Nanimon. He's just a 2k body, and if they get hit in security, you get to play it. Next, we go 4 copies of the security Shademon. Same thing as Nanimon. It's a 5k blocker, and it can't swing, but it is really nice to get that blocker sometimes. And if you think about it, he's kind of soaking 2 hits here because you're going to get to play him. He potentially clears a body off the board if it's something small, and then you're going to get to block again with him. So I like him. I think he's really good for security efficiency, which kind of matters in this deck. And then we're rounding out our champions with 3 copies of Ganemon. Please don't pay attention to my scuffed proxies. This guy is just a 4-drop. He's 2 to Digivolve, and he has inheritable reboot, which kind of matters in this deck. So that's it for our champions. Let's go to our ultimates next. For our ultimates, we're going to start with something that's really normal in Jijimon, and that is 4 copies of Mamemon. When Digivolving and on play, we get to flip top 5 and look for a tamer, and we get to put them back in any order, top or bottom. Obviously, we want to hit our tamers, but if we don't, knowing what our next 5 cards are is really powerful. Getting to choose if we want them on the bottom of the deck is also fantastic, so we like this card. His inheritable will also do a lot of work in this deck, giving us a blocker whenever we play out a Digimon by an effect. Next, a little bit of a funky card, but we go 3 copies of the EX3 Jazzerikmon. On play, we get to trigger D-Digivolve 1, and we get to play a Hina. And this comes up quite a bit because we are playing Jijimon. He is a potential target for when we flip cards. And his inheritable will give us security attack +1 on any of our Dragon Links top end. So we are running the Hina, we are running the Dragon Links, so this card is just fantastic. We'll get our D-Digivolve all the time. It's pretty frequent that we do get a body with security +1 on it, so that gives a little bit of control, a little bit of aggression to this deck, which it really does need because Jijimon does not pack very much of a punch. So that's all we run for ultimates. Next, we can look at our top end. Now for our megas, we're going to start with the main man himself, 4 copies of Jijimon. When Digivolving, we flip top 3 looking for a tamer, and then when attacking, for every green or black tamer we have, we get to flip a card, and we can play out any number of Digimon as long as their play cost adds up to 10. So we're using Jijimon to get wide board. It's super fun, Gacha mechanic, lots of people like it. I haven't had success with it so far, but in this deck, he does feel fantastic. So we run him at 4. He's who we want to see, kind of the engine for our deck. And then we have our Dragon Links top end. I go 2 on the Volcanic Dramon and 1 on the Metallic Dramon. The Volcanic Dramons give us the removal that we need very badly in this deck. Being able to clear out small bodies and kind of stall out and make the most of our security. It's very, very strong. Being able to trash a security when we swing is also very, very strong. And it only gets better when it's on top of that Jazzerikmon. Metallic Dramon being a reboot blocker is kind of the main reason why I like it. Bigger blocker body on the board is always nice. D-Digivolve 1 is nice. and potentially stopping your opponent from digivolving is also really nice. So we just like this top end. It makes sense to run it because I'm running the Hina anyways. I'm running the Jazzericmon, so why not make the most out of it and run this Dragon Link's top end? Lastly, we're going to round it out with 2 copies of Quartzmon. Anything black, green, or white, I think Quartzmon should go in. We're going wideboard. Makes total sense to run the Quartzmon. We're going to have a lot of bodies to suspend and potentially trash a lot of security, and it gives us a lot more control over the board when we do make it to Quartzmon. So no-brainer for me, and that's going to be it for our Digimon. Next, we can take a look at the options that we're running in this deck. So for our options, we start with 4 copies of Tactical Retreat. This is a really interesting option card. You see it in a lot of security control decks. You pay 1 to put one of your Digimon back on top of your deck, and its security effect is just a vanilla recover 1. In a deck where 30 out of your 50 cards are cards you like to see in security, this is really good. It helps you stall out your security against your opponent. It helps you put things back on top that have potentially powerful effects. We're running that Chikurimon. We've got D-Digivolve that we can pop on somebody. We've got the Dorumon that when we're manipulating top 5 cards of our deck, we know if the Dorumon is going to flip into a body. So being able to put that back on top, powerful. Being able to put a Shademon blocker back on top, also really powerful. Nanimon, still good in security. Anything that brings us a body back is just value to us. So we like the tactical security. It's kind of what gives the skill expression to this deck because you're allowed to choose what kind of penalty you want to give your opponent for swinging into your stack. So I really like this card. I think it's what makes this deck super fun. And for that reason, we run it at 4. The only other option I run in this deck is Reinforcing Memory Boost. I kind of want to lean more into the recovery aspect of this deck. Be able to flip-flop top 2 and then choose what goes on top is really good. Again, the way this deck plays, you're going to know what your top cards are. And you're going to get to choose what's going in that security and what kind of effect you want to hit somebody with. Memory efficiency is great with the delay effect, so we just like this card. That's it for options. Next, we can look at our tamers. So, tamers are a bit interesting in this deck because you've seen we have yellow options, and we do need green or black tamers in order to get our Jijimon effect, and we still need tamers for our Dragon Links. So, the best tamer that I believe you can run in this deck is 4 copies of the TK and Izzy. This card gives you a lot of memory. Everybody's playing big stacks. You're trying to get into a big stack. Each card is basically going to give you 2 memory per turn, per copy. So there's a lot of turns where I start my turn with 10 memory. And just by having this guy on board, we're now allowed to play our options and we're going to get lots of GG scries. So I really like this card. I think it's worth running at 4. Next, we're running the EX4 Henry and Shu Chong. This card does nothing. Absolutely nothing. But it enables our colors, which we like. I did try running yellow tamers in this slot. I tried running black tamers in this slot, and I tried running green tamers in this slot. And so far, just based on the colors, this feels the best. You are never, ever thinking, man, I wish I had yellow so I could play my options. You're never wishing you had black or green so you could flip your Jijimon. And assuming you get this card off the scry for a Mamemon or Jijimon and you play it for free, you don't really feel that much pain from it doing nothing. Just as long as you're not playing the pay cost. So I like this card in this slot. I think it's worth running. Feel free to experiment with something else. Lastly, we do go 2 copies of the Hina for our Dragon Links. I think aside from Dragon Links, this tamer has some really, really good memory efficiency. Just getting a generic 1 memory if your opponent has a Digimon on board, I like that. And having to hard play it for 3 doesn't feel that bad. In all honesty, there's lots of games where I have it in my opening hand, and I don't feel bad just going rookie into Hina, and then immediate profit next turn. So I like it. You could, again, try different things, but I think if you're running the Dragon Link's top end, definitely worth running. It enables our on-play effects, so I like to see it. That is it for the deck profile. Next, I just want to briefly cover a couple of tech options that you could try running. So for tech options, we're just going to go over what I switch out for sideboard options because I don't think there's a whole lot you can switch out in this deck and have it maintain its functionality. So the first thing I want to bring up is this blocker Agumon. Chumon in this slot, I think, is very good. I keep it sideboard. If I'm not playing against someone who's going to gain a lot of memory from effects, I'm not running Chumon. I like the blocker, so it's there. You could also run any other Floodgate rookie you want based on matchup, but obviously memory blocker is always the most common choice. So aside from that, you can totally switch out your Dragon Link's top end. I recommend keeping the Jazzericmon and the Hina because there's not a lot that fits better in those two slots particularly. It's not a lot of really powerful level 5 black Digimon, and there's not a lot of tamers that fit into our deck without being awkward. So I would keep those two cards, but these two, I've actually considered swapping out for the Shadow Seraphimon. I think that card is really good. It kind of leans more into the recovery idea of this deck, and it's going to punish decks that want a big stack that swings for multiple checks a lot harder than you would with either of these two cards. So if you want to experiment more with the EX4 cards and try to go a little bit harder into the recovery route, definitely give Shadow Seraphimon a try. It also kind of synergizes better with Quartzmon because it's black, so you can go into Quartzmon on top of it where you can't with the Volcanictramon. So that is it for our sideboard options. Now we could talk about some opening hands. So opening hands in this deck, it's very straightforward, very generic, and we're going to go over it just very briefly. You want to start with any one of your rookies. It does not matter which one. None of these guys give inheritables. The only thing to consider is that if you start with multiple, you don't want a card you would like in security to go in raising. Because we're running the tactical retreat, if I had two of these in my starting hand, I would almost always go Agumon in my raising, because if I have the opportunity to hard play one of these two later and then tactical retreat it, then the card is there for the security benefit. So any rookie is good. Just keep in mind, you have to be a little bit mindful of what you're putting in raising. The next thing you definitely want to see is a level 4. I like the Ganemon. Reboot is going to be strong on our Jijimon. If you don't see it, not the end of the world. Go into whatever level 4 you get. Next, I really, really want to stress it's important that you see a level 5 in your starting hand. For whatever reason with this deck, I have a lot of bad luck, and I will have games where I just straight up do not see a level 5. And that is the worst feeling in the world. So I recommend trying to fish for an opening hand that has a level 5. Mamemon is obviously best because he plays us our tamers for free, but I just like to have it and not have to worry about fishing for it later. So I recommend looking for it. Jijimon, always nice. It can be any level 6, but specifically Jijimon feels better. And then seeing one of our two tamers, either Hina or TK and Izzy, will feel good. This gives you a lot of options for what you can do. You can go into Rookie and then Digivolve if you're first. You could go Rookie and then Hina or Izzy to start getting memory. If you're going second, it feels even better if you can go Rookie into a champion and then play one of these two. You're set up for success that way, especially if you have the Mamemon in hand, because next turn you promote, you go into the Mamemon, you're fishing top 5, you get more tamers. And then if you see the Jijimon on the scry, or if he's in your hand, you can set yourself up to get into the Jijimon next turn, and then you're starting to flip, you're starting to go wide, and you're just set up for success. So that's kind of all you need to think about with your opening hands. There's not really any combos to go over for this deck because it doesn't do a whole lot. It goes wide. It kind of pilots itself. So yeah, that's all I got for opening hands. That's it for the video today, guys. Overall, I'm going to be giving this deck a solid B. This Digimon deck profile is super fun to play. It has a good amount of skill expression that you can get out of your tactical retreats and the on-play effects, as well as providing lots of opportunity for you to get back into the game after you lose a stack, due to the large number of security Digimon that we run. The deck will also provide you with lots of memory once you get your tamers down, so there's potential to absolutely run away with the game if you get your Mamemon hits. The downside to this deck are that it's still, at the end of the day, a Gatcha deck. If you whiff tamers, you're out of luck, and your options rely on you hitting a yellow tamer. The deck can also be susceptible to hitting high DP value Digimon in security, and you'll definitely be losing your stack if that happens. The deck is just a little bit too inconsistent for me to rank any higher, but if you're looking for a solid way to try out Jijimon, I think you should give this a shot. That's all for this deck profile. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.